Stay connected at urbanmusicreport.com for the hottest music features and videos, fashion reports, sports stories, entertainment news, and technology updates at urbanmusicreport.com. Stay connected.
Welcome to the Urban Music Report channel. I'm Charles Dixon, and today we're going to go below the radar with Tiffany Bynoe. Now, she's no newcomer to the game. Years ago, she was Tanae Williams and had a #2 Billboard hit. So, going below the radar, we're going to find out what she's been doing all these years since her first debut in the early 90s. How you doing, Tiff?
I'm great. Thank you for having me.
I got to get used to calling you Tiffany.
Tiff, I
because
know.
you've been Tanae to me. Like you were the first artist that I ever had A&R, and
Yeah.
the first artist that I put a project together for. I'm still proud of to this day.
Absolutely.
And it's amazing that you still look exactly the same. So that's magic.
Well, thank God for that.
No, absolutely.
Yeah.
So how you been?
I'm great, thank you. I'm great. I know you were mentioning about me where I've been throughout all these years. Well, I've been putting a lot of things together. I did. Now I'm working on a makeup line.
Okay.
It's called Olive Tree by Tiffany Bynoe.
But for our listeners, let's go back in the time machine.
Okay.
Let's say 92. Give Him a Love That He Can Feel. Smash hit, #2 on Billboard, and the album came out, and then
But
you
you
left the
trying to
label.
go deep. You trying to go deep.
No, you left the label. No, I just want to,
No, I'm just messing with you.
Right, exactly. You are, but I'm such a fan. I'm still a big fan of yours, so I take everything you say seriously. So after the album dropped, what happened? You went back because you're originally from Ohio.
Yeah. Originally
Akron.
from Akron, Ohio. Yeah, I did. I went back home. And long story short, I had a daughter.
Right.
And my daughter, she was born with dextrocardia. Dextrocardia is where your heart is it's reversed, so it doesn't look normal. You know, in fact, the only way that the doctors could see it to be normal would be to put a mirror in front of it.
Wow.
And so when she was 4 months old, she had a band placed in her heart. And when she was 7 years old, and then when she was 9 years old, she had 2 open heart surgeries.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean, we did Make-A-Wish Foundation. She was really failing to thrive, and so music was not an option.
Right.
My daughter's life meant everything to
Absolutely.
me, So, I took time off and just make sure her world was, nothing missing, nothing broken in her world. And you know what? You say I still look the same. I give all credit to God because just staying in His presence and staying connected to Him. He said that I'll redeem the time, and that's what He did for me. He began to just show me that hey, nothing's done.
That's
Go
real.
back out there and finish what you got to do.
We see it.
Yeah,
So you for the past 15 years you were working in the gospel world. How was that? What was that like?
Interesting, very interesting. And I've worked with Hezekiah Walker.
Okay.
I've worked with a bunch of different ones.
Winans.
The Winans, yeah. I've shared stages with Vicki Winans, of course.
Vicki,
And it was interesting, because it's when you're in the industry and people are coming from a superficial place, and then you cross over and people are coming from a genuine place.
And they're connected.
And they connect it.
Right.
One thing I did find in the church is that if you don't really, thank God that I was taught to belt and and I could do all those things, but the true character of who I am is not that person.
Right.
And so you kind of get caught up into doing what everyone else wants you to do, and so this is how we got to where we are today. I took some time off to say no. I never finished that R&B album that was in my heart.
Right.
I never finished it, and that's what leads me back here today to where, time and chance just happened to, give me an opportunity to bring these things back out. It's not a coincidence if you look, like a lot of the artists from the 90s are coming back. I think people are really, really pulling on genuine lyrics and genuine vocals.
Yep. CeCe Peniston, Crystal Waters, they're still very strong.
Yeah.
And your remake of Ella Champagne King's Shame is one of my favorite records.
Oh, thank you so much.
And I played it, I think, maybe 4 or 5 weeks in a row. Probably gonna play it again this week because it's the way you attacked it, and it's so authentic to original, but also your flavor.
Yeah.
And your signature's there. That's what I miss a lot with music today.
Yeah.
I can listen to any song that you do, even if I've never heard it, and I'm like, oh, that's Tiffany.
Yeah.
Whereas today, you know, I call them the sad girls. They make these
Oh my
records and
goodness.
everything sounds like the whole Aaliyah/Janet Jackson whispers, like,
Right.
I'm so sad.
Yeah.
I'm sad.
And that's actually what the song is saying too.
Exactly.
My daughter listens to it, and I can always tell. I'm like, oh goodness, she's in her feelings today.
I was driving somewhere with my wife, and she had Pandora, and I was like going, I think we were driving to Philly, and I went to sleep, and I woke back up, and I was like, whose album was that? She was like, that wasn't an album. That was like 15 different artists back to back.
And they sound like the same
they all
person.
sound like the same person.
Yep.
And these days, if you don't see the video or the
Yeah.
visual, you don't even know.
You don't know. You don't know.
But in
You're
the
right.
90s, I mean, you could tell Brandy from
Oh my
Monica,
goodness.
from Mary to
Yes.
SWV, and even the 90s ladies. It was like everybody that you heard, you could tell who that was.
Yeah.
And that was the style. Now it's almost like you can't get a deal unless you sound like
Unless
someone
you
else.
sound like that, yeah.
And I
Unless
think
you
a lot of
are.
it has to do with a lot of the A&R executives.
Yeah,
They're
definitely.
back in the day, A&Rs, I mean, even though some of them were really weird, but they were really gifted. They were
Yeah.
blessed. They had natural talent.
Definitely.
Whereas today, everything is an equation or formula from someone that has an MBA in business, and they're making creative decisions, and I think that affects it. And now, the A&R executives are much younger than they were before.
Right.
Like Clive
Right.
Davis, when he signed Whitney Houston, he was probably almost 50. You know, maybe Clive, he doesn't. No one knows how old he is.
Right.
But Clive has been, in the game since
For a while.
since Woodstock, so, and he's still doing it.
Yeah.
And it takes that type of wisdom. Just like when you look at the Supreme Court, you don't see
Yeah.
judges on the Supreme Court
Right,
that are 30.
right,
They're
right.
older and they're wiser, and they have, a wealth of information
Yeah.
and knowledge that they can apply to things.
Yep.
That's where wisdom comes from. So the music industry is going through that because most of the male artists, they all sound like Usher or Chris Brown, and all the females, they sound like they're sad.
Yeah,
So,
they're sad.
and then I hear a song like Shame, and I'm like, oh, it's coming back. And then
Yeah.
my friend Kathy Sledge, who was big in the late 70s, early 80s with We Are Family, her new song Falling fits into that pocket as well.
Wow.
And the last time I was in Europe, this genre called New Disco is coming out, and all it really is just 70s and 80s disco,
Right.
but new productions and new flavor to it and new
Okay.
feeling, and that's what Shame is,
Yeah,
So the audience is, 18 to 24 now.
Sure is. It sure
And
is.
one thing I love about the 20-year-olds is that they're not following their older brothers and sisters in their 30s,
They don't
and
want
definitely
to.
not their parents.
Yep.
So they're coming. They think they invented the 70s, 80s music, and that's
Right,
great because
yeah.
we thought we did it when I
Yeah.
was coming up. So I just love the way music is going, and
Yeah,
you're
I
right
do
on
too.
pocket
Yeah.
with that,
Yeah.
and you can hang with them
Yeah.
because you still look like you did,
Aw, thank you
in the
so
90s.
much.
So that's amazing,
Yeah.
and that's really key.
It
'cause
is.
Everything is about. We're in a visual era. now.
Absolutely.
So if you didn't take care of
Absolutely.
yourself, you
Yeah. It'd be
you're gonna
hard.
be in trouble.
Yeah. So like stay behind that wall.
Exactly. So one of my favorite producers that produced the top male gospel house artist now, after Kenny Bobby, you have Aaron K. Gray, and his album is amazing. The Basin Boys produced it, and the first single I ever heard was produced by producer Knox.
Yes.
It's a song called Hallelujah.
Yeah.
So
Awesome.
when Kyle told me that Knox was doing it, I was like, I don't even have to hear
Right.
it.
Yeah.
I just need to
Yeah.
get it.
Yeah. Absolutely.
And, so if he's doing other tracks with you, that guy doesn't miss.
He's so amazing, and it's interesting because, we were talking earlier about how genres of music, and it's interesting that when you really talk to an artist and you talk to them about their music, it's not a genre, it's a journey,
Right.
because we go through so many different journeys in life, and it's just, whether it happens to be you're singing inspirational songs or love songs or dance music, it's that journey that you're on for that moment, and so that's why, I remember growing up, my mother used to have me listen to Natalie Cole, Barbra Streisand, Whitney Houston, and it was funny because the interesting thing was, being 7 years old, and I would say, hey, if you happen to see my sweet baby, he was walking on down the road. Tell him for me that if you see him tonight, everything is alright. because I know how he gets when he's alone. So, those are like songs 7 years old. Like, what are you singing about? I don't know, you know? So that's why I did Shame, and they ended up bringing the music, you know, and when I decided that we wanted to do Shame, it was because singing all these songs at 7 years old and 10 years old, I didn't know nothing about it. You know, nothing about what they were saying, nothing about what they meant. I just knew the emotion of the music, you know? So now, going back and now being able to appreciate the singing, appreciate the music, the vocals, you know, and also bringing that so that the new generation today can actually see where our roots. We need to stay true to our roots.
But you've always been that way, because remember the first album, This Time Baby, you did that.
I did This
That
Time
was
Baby.
a big disco.
Yeah, it
and
was.
Your version to me was better than the original.
Oh, thank you.
And that was in the 90s. So
Yeah.
it's like, so coming back with Shame, and I can't wait to hear what else you have. That's going to be amazing as well.
We have there's a song on there called Baby Baby, and it has Notorious B.I.G. doing his infamous Baby Baby.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I mean, we just have so many wonderful songs. And it's like the show that comes with this is the visual that comes with this is just awesome, because it talks about, you know, love songs, you know, so we're talking about whether you want to get rid of the brother or you want to keep him. But, you know, it's just real love songs with real journeys, real messages, but, you know, that people can relate to, and also go back and remember where we came from as far as the Natalie Coles and the Barbra Streisand. Well, I say Barbra Streisand because I love diversity. Yeah. You know, it's just, music is music. You know, and that's just how it is for me.
Yeah, when she did A Star Is Born, that's when I really got into it.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, mine was People and all that. Yeah. In fact, I really, until this day, want to redo People. I think today we need that.
Might as well.
You know, and that's why we wrote the song. The title of the album is called Everything Love, because throughout my life of going through what I went through with my daughter, and you know, coming out of the industry and now coming back into it and things like that, I find that love is the key to everything.
It's always been that way.
It is, and if it's genuine and pure, it'll go right where it needs to go.
Yeah, music touches your soul.
Yeah.
Music is a very powerful medium because you can pass your conscious mind and go front your subconscious. Like, I woke up today singing this song, and I'm like, why am I singing this song?
You fell asleep listening to it?
No, I haven't heard it in like weeks
or
months. I just came out of nowhere. It's just in my head, and that's in my subconscious mind.
Yeah.
And that's why we have to be careful with our music. And that's another issue that I have with music today that's negative or that promotes negative stereotypes, because it's in people's subconscious. And that's a bad place to be in.
It is. So. And it also becomes like, you know, even when we look at the reality shows and we see the superficialness even in marriage. Yep. You know, because marriage is not a game. It's a commitment that you make a vow to God, you know, first. Absolutely. And then to your spouse. You know, so, you know, when we realize those things, and it's interesting because when I do my show, it's funny, there was a guy that came up to us and I did a song called Your Love Completes Me. Now this guy, he was, I guess he and his wife were together for 30 years or so, and he was leaving, they were separated. Well, at the end of this song, and see, this no matter what it is, when your heart is pure and you really are assigned to what you're doing, things happen, magic happens, you know. And so this man comes to me and he says, you know, after hearing that song and hearing what he needed to hear for himself, I guess with their relationship, he said his whole goal was to go home and make it right with his wife.
So it moved him.
It moved him, and those are the things that speak to me. Oh, those are the things that speak to me to where, you know, it's like, you know, it doesn't. I mean, a #1 hit. Oh yeah, I would love it. But when someone comes to me and say that it blessed me and it moved me and it changed my life, that's the #1 hit for me.
Absolutely. Music from the 60s, the 70s, the 80s was like that. It wasn't until the internet and overnight success as a factor changed everything. Everyone wants the instant microwave record.
Exactly. Yeah.
And success is directly proportional to how long you've been in the game. So the worst thing could ever happen to an artist is to have an overnight hit, because you'll be an overnight flop.
Right.
No foundation, like Jack and the Beanstalk. You know, the tree shoots straight up and it falls over.
Yeah.
So does your career.
Yeah.
So I'm glad that you you know, have that approach, and that you're coming back and you're doing things. So that's just amazing.
Yeah.
But outside of the music, because you do so many different things, what other projects? I know you had a makeup line.
Yeah, I do. I have Yeah, I have a lipstick line. Well, it's actually a makeup line that we're starting, but we're starting off launching just
With
the
lipstick, right.
Yeah. And the lipstick is called Nude on Me.
Mm-hmm.
And what we got that from, you know, no matter what skin tone you are, your nude is different.
Right.
You know, so that's why it's Nudes on Me.
That's a great concept.
Isn't that great? You know, interesting, because my husband came to me. He was like, okay, well, we need to brainstorm. So I said, okay, just give me a minute. He kept, you know how Kyle is, he'll move quick. So he kept coming up, and I said, no, just give me a minute. Finally, I said it. He goes, that's perfect. I'm like, I know. Wait, yeah. So we're working on the lipstick line. I also have a foundation with my daughter called Gabby's Heart.
Okay.
And the one thing with her is I realized that she's not afraid of her scar. She's not afraid of her story.
Right.
And so when people see it, it's becoming like a draw for her, because there's so many other young kids that have had heart conditions,
right.
You know,
and have surgeries.
That have had surgeries and overcame them, and they share the scar. So they're like, oh, yeah, you know. And she comes home from work every maybe once a week, and she has a story about that, you know. Perfect. I'm like, I know. Wait, yeah. So we're working on the lipstick line. I also have a foundation with my daughter called Gabby's Heart.
Okay.
And the one thing with her is I realized that she's not afraid of her scar. She's not afraid of her story.
Right.
And so when people see it, it's becoming like a draw for her, because there's so many other young kids that have had heart conditions,
right.
You know,
and have surgeries.
That have had surgeries and overcame them, and they share the scar. So they're like, oh, yeah, you know. And she comes home from work every maybe once a week, and she has a story about that, you know.